welcome everybody to the North Day Justice Center's annual Law Day celebration. I'm Judge Linda Singer-Stein, and together with Judge Miriam Lear, we're so happy to see you all again. I'd like to introduce you to our co-chairs. Judge Natalie Moore, unfortunately she wasn't feeling well this morning, but she's one of our co-chairs, and we've got Judge Ayanna Harris.
Stand up.
And Judge Shankar Hekwaba. This wonderful event is being live streamed through the 11th Judicial Circuit's YouTube channel. We're once again thrilled to welcome back our Law Academy students from our neighboring Alonso and Tracy Morning High School. And they've partnered with us for over a decade, along with their outstanding leader, Mr. Luke Schlehuber, and a new teacher, Peter Falcone. They're in the next courtroom, so please give them a round of applause because I think they can hear you.
So for almost 30 years, the North Day Justice Center has been celebrating our nation's commitment to the rule of law. I have to say I'm overwhelmed with happiness to see so many old friends here and new friends, judges and colleagues that year after year come and support our most wonderful event. So thank you for joining us again. So our founding fathers created the court system to uphold the Constitution and provide balance to our government. This is why Congress in 1961 officially designated May 1st as Law Day. The theme this year is Cornerstones of Democracy, Civics, Civility, and Collaboration. Judge Stein and I are most proud to once again bring our annual Law Day program to our community in partnership with the many bar associations, the Aventura Marketing Council, and the Clerks of Court. We are forever grateful for your continuous support. Our goal has always been to inspire students of all ages to love the law as much as we do, and make this courthouse a place where community can learn and appreciate our justice system.
I just found out that we have additional students from Grace Leadership Preparatory Institute, and they're over in the next courtroom too, so let's give them a big round of applause. The American Bar Association has proclaimed that members of the legal profession should lead the way in promoting collaboration to overcome our differences and resolve our disputes, so that we may strengthen the bonds of affection between citizens and assure that all Americans understand our constitutional order protects the blessings of liberty. Judge Lear and I are proud that together we have made an impact on this vast and diversified community of ours. We continue our path in educating in the law, high school and law school students, and we include the various bar associations, many of which whom are here, with the Aventura Marketing Council members to increase the recognition of the County Court Civil Division for the entire 11th Judicial Circuit Court system. And now, Judge Harris.
Good morning, everyone. We are very pleased to open our program with the Pledge of Allegiance presented by the Aventura Honor Guard, as well as our North Day bailiffs, past and present. We can have everyone to stand for the pledge.
Dita, Hulk, present, colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
so much. And now we're going to have everyone remain standing for our wonderful special guest singer, Cammie Liz, who's one of the superstars of the Aventura Marketing Council's Young Stars Showcase. Cammie is a singer, songwriter, and actress, and performer of Who is Pop Powerhouse. Cammie won the National iHeartRadio and Live Me Music House competition and opened for stars such as Billie Eilish and Katy Perry. Please welcome Cammie as she sings God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, why we farm. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Hold up, humps. Mark time, mark. Forward, mark.
Everyone, please remain standing. Mayor Glenn Singer is in his 10th year as the mayor of the beautiful town of Golden Beach. And he's done us the honor of delivering the invocation today. Mayor Singer, thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Good morning. I first would like to take this opportunity to recognize and show my appreciation to everyone involved in organizing this event. I want to thank every law enforcement officer present today. Your sacrifice does not go unnoticed. Thank every judge, attorney, paralegal, public official, and their families here today. Thank you for your unwavering dedication and service. It's an honor to be here today, commencing this annual event, celebrating the rule of law, a day which provides an opportunity to understand how the law and the legal process works, a day in which we can reflect on the role of the law and the foundation of the country and recognize its importance to society. A day that spotlights the legal system, which protects our civil rights, protects our liberty, strives to achieve justice, and contributes to the freedom that we all have. America can be very fragile if we don't defend the rule of law and the legal system, and it's important to acknowledge the hard work that is performed by individuals such as yourself. It will fail. On Friday night, one of my Golden Beach's officers, Sergeant Jose Batista, was shot while on duty. He was doing what he loves, and that's being a police officer and protecting this community. It'll be a long road to recovery, but he should be fine in the long run. I want you to know that the officers involved acted with bravery and courage to protect the lives and citizens they serve. The public needs to know that these actions of these criminals have far-reaching consequences affecting not only the victims, but everyone connected to them. Words cannot express my gratitude to every law enforcement officer here today who serves this great community. I would like to thank you all for being our defenders and for being our protectors. Because of all you here today, every judge, attorney, paralegal, and public official, we are all free and we can all sleep at night. I want to thank everyone. Thank you.
Everyone may be seated. Our thoughts and prayers go to the officer and his family. We're honored today, can you hear me? Yes. We're honored today to have our Chief Judge, Nushin Saifi, and she's been leading the entire 11th Judicial Circuit during these challenging times for the County Court Civil Division with our ever-increasing case filings. She's joining us on her second term as Chief Judge for the first time since the pandemic. So please welcome our Chief Judge, Nushin Saifi.
Didn't put contacts on today, so the glasses are going on, even though my font, every year I come here, the font on my speech gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So number one, I just want to say thank you for being here. I also want to give a shout out to our incredible AV team who supports us. And one of the things I think is so important for everyone in the community to understand, and certainly for my judges, we all know it, but I know it better now than ever, is that we are 123 judges in Miami. We are a top 5 jurisdiction in the country. But we have, when we're fully staffed, we have 725 employees. So we have 600 people that support 123 judges in what they do. And we are nothing without them. And I just want to give them a shout out because they're very much a part of this mission. And I think it's so important for them to be recognized. I want to give a really big thank you to Judge Linda Stein and Judge Mimi Lair for including me in this event. And I think it's so special when judges, I've seen it happen over and over again when I was a lawyer, now as a judge, when they find their niche and they find somewhere where they just personify what they're doing. And not all judges do that. A lot of us move around to different positions. But you cannot think of North Dade without thinking about Mimi Lair and Linda Stein. And they have made this place they've really made this place, they put their mark on it, they've made this place their home, and every judge that comes through here, every person that comes through here feels the magic and the warmth of this place thanks to Linda and Mimi. So I'm so happy to be here today.
So much.
I'm also happy because I live in this neighborhood. So this morning, as I heard that 95 South had a 3-lane closure because of an accident, I was like, yay, it's North Dade Law Day, and I get to drive 15 minutes to work today. So I also want to give a very special shout out to all of my judges, but especially those judges in county court, and really civil and criminal and DV. County court has been just experiencing obviously a surge in cases. It's funny because now when I hear the word surge or the surge, it's not the pandemic surge I'm thinking about, it's the caseload surge. And they've really been operating for years and years and years under difficult circumstances. We have a lot of turnover predominantly in county court. Right now we are 5 judges down, 3 of those judges are down in county court. So I applaud them for working so hard under these challenging times. And I'm hoping that's the end of surges, pandemic and otherwise for us for a while. So I also wanted just to give someone else is gonna give special recognition to all the dignitaries that are here, but I know that we have mayors and we have police officers and we have commissioners, and I think Aventura is in the house and Golden Beach is in the house, I think Miami Gardens is in the house. So shout out to all of you for being here, and again for being part of, I think days like today, we recognize that we are all in this together, we are all on the same team, even though we have different roles. And we can't do what we do without all of you. So thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your crazy busy schedules to share this day with us, and really to share it with the kids next door, because I think we're all here for them more than anyone else. This year's Law Day topic is Cornerstones of Democracy, Civics, Civility, and Collaboration. And what does that mean? It's a critical topic, I think, at a time when our country is divided over so many issues. And I think we can all recognize as we watch the news or walk the streets that there are people in our communities who are really hurting, and there are people who are struggling, and there are people who are losing faith in institutions, and the challenges are certainly not assisted by a lack of education and a lack of knowledge of our democracy and how it all works, and who the different players are, and locally what it means to be a democracy, and at the national level what it means to be a democracy. So a day like this, Law Day, and it's beautiful that I guess it's the 65th Law Day, I didn't know that, and it's North Date's 30th Law Day? So wonderful. It's so important for us to take a moment and take stock in what we do, why we do it, and how to explain it and teach it to others, especially the kids, because they're the ones who are going to have to carry this forward more than us, and we need them to understand how important it is. And I think for me personally, I will tell you, as much as we're here to give, I feel like I get so much more out of being here, out of seeing all of you here, and taking stock of what I do, why I do it, and the history of what we do and why we do it. So this day, I guess I'm not really talking about civic civility and collaboration. I guess I am talking about collaboration. We're collaborating here today, but I really hope what it does is help to inspire and educate the next generation so that they still have faith in our democracy. That we spoke to them earlier today, and we were talking about using their voices. I know there's a lot of lawyers in the room. Lawyering is all about using your words and using your voice, and I think it's important for the children to understand that, because that's what has moved this country for over 250 years, and that's what's going to keep us going forward. It's also important to make sure that when you use your words and use your voices, you do it certainly with civility, but with integrity. And I think that's another thing that worries me a little bit, and I hope the kids understand, and we talked about that. Making sure that you are educated, that you have knowledge, and that you use your words and really be impeccable with those words. Make sure that integrity in your words and your language is so important, especially at a time where people don't know what's true. So with that, before I end, I just want to give one more quick shout out about our keynote speaker, who's Katie Fang. Ooh, yeah, I was so excited about that. I have had the pleasure of knowing Katie Fang for, I think it's close to 20 years, when she was significantly younger than me, but we were adversaries in a courtroom, and while we were on opposite sides, I really kind of felt from the beginning when I met her that we were on the same side. There was a meeting of the minds, and I'm lucky to have watched her career path from a pretty good seat. And yes, she's as cool as you might think, but I'm amazed and truly in awe of how hard she works. I think she exemplifies, the American dream. Like, she has worked really hard, and she has taken advantage of opportunities, and she's, honestly, she's got big giant brains, but the speed of her brains is also amazing to me, that she does everything she does and does it so quickly, and does it with such grace. But I think she's also someone that I really am happy that the kids get to meet, because I think she's an example of, there's nothing that is out of your range and nothing that is out of your league. And that's it. Thank you all for sharing this day with us. And personally, thank you again for being just, there's rough days in this job, but doing this really gives me the energy and the inspiration that I need, and the positivity certainly to go forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Judge Harris.
Up next, we're going to welcome Aventura Mayor Howard S. Weinberg, Esquire. We want to congratulate him on his recent election. Where is he? He's coming on up. Thank you. Mayor Weinberg has joined us, and he's going to say a few words about Law Day. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. So, the question I was asked to speak about very briefly is, how does a legal education impact our ability to serve our community as elected officials? So the best way for me to answer is to just tell you how it assists me personally. First of all, as you heard, I haven't been the mayor for very long, but I came to the job with a lot of initials. Okay, I got a BBA for my business degree. I got an MA for my master's degree. I got a little OCD, clearly ADD. Oh look, a squirrel. Probably a little PTSD. But in all seriousness, it's the JD. It's the JD that makes me better at what I do now in serving my community. And one of the biggest reasons is because of what happens as a new lawyer, a 20-something lawyer. By the way, I love this courthouse. The people that are in it are what make it. The people that work here, some that have already passed through here, but if you get assigned as a judge to this courthouse, you have won the lottery. And that is absolutely the greatest people. So as a young lawyer, several times a week, I would come to a courtroom just like this to argue a motion. And just like they told me, don't take more than 3 minutes. You'd get a couple of minutes to make your point. You better make your point right away because you get instant feedback. The judge is going to say whether you won or lost. Right there. Right there. And then, we didn't have phones back then. I would have to drive back and tell my boss if I won or lost. So you learn to make your point immediately. You learn to think on your feet. You learn to public speaking. And these are the lessons that if you're the mayor of a city, there's always an issue. You don't have time to put everything into every issue. You've got to make quick decisions. You have to issue spot. So another example, issue spotting that you learn from law school and from looking at briefs and figuring out what is my argument. We were building a high school. True story. We're going to have our first graduating class in 1 month. This month. So some people came to City Hall to argue against the high school. I couldn't figure it out. Who's against a high school for our children? Even if you don't have kids in the school, it's going to increase your property values. It makes our city complete because now we're K through 12. And then I thought, analytically, that I learned in law school, let me see where they live. Well, it turns out they weren't against the high school. They didn't want to drive to Biscayne Boulevard every morning through a school zone at 5 miles an hour. That was the real issue. And that's never going to make them happy. So these are the kind of things that a law degree helps. When I was also a young lawyer, I had an unbelievable opportunity. I had to go to Aspen, Colorado, and take the deposition of Chris Everett and Martina Navratilova. I'd been a lawyer for 6 months. I said, this is going to be a great career. It was a very contentious case, and I flew out with the opposing counsel. And I learned about civility because we didn't have to be enemies. We did the depositions, and that evening we went to a place I'd never heard of, but now I know it's maybe the most famous hotel in the country, the Jerome Hotel. And we were like, wow, this is really cool. What is that? And for the first time in our lives, we saw a little thing called karaoke. And we became good friends. And that's how it's supposed to work. We need to get back to that. So all I can tell you, especially young people, a law degree, not only does it open many doors, it opens your mind. You will be more successful at anything you do with a law degree. And you will probably have an urge to give back to your community with public service. And believe me, you will love it. I'm sure I'm more than 3 minutes. I want to respect the rules. So I will just say thank you. It's been a pleasure to be invited to speak to you. Thank you very much.
Let me put on my eyes. Good morning, everybody. We are honored to have so many special guests joining us today. And while I recognize all of you, I just want to recognize a few people. And I would ask that please, if you could hold your applause till the end. I know we all like to applaud. Events like this don't happen without sponsors. And so we are so fortunate to have some wonderful sponsors here today. As I call your name, I would please ask for you to stand to be recognized. First and foremost, the attorney who has been a sponsor of our Law Day for many years, Ms. Cheryl Berkowitz, partner in Fenstershire and Berkowitz. Please stand. Okay, I can see you guys are not obeying instructions, but anyway. This year, Cheryl said, I would like to do more, and she did. And so we want to say thank you very much, Cheryl Berkowitz. Next, I have Jeff Levinson and Greg Roberts of Valley Bank, a great and constant supporter, both of them, of our Law Day. Thank you very much. Okay, I forgive you this time. Next, we have Al Escanozzi from Community Police Relations Foundation. He's a great friend of law enforcement nationally and Law Day supporter for the last few years. Also, please stand and be recognized along with your colleague, Nicole Champagne, who is on your team. Nicole, I see Nicole is not here today, but we want to thank her as well. Our friends from the Aventura Marketing Council and the Chamber of Commerce, they have been with us for 20 plus years. We have their chairman, Gary Piet, who is out of town, but their former chairman for over 13 years. Is Gary here? He's here. Oh, okay. Well, Gary, thank you very much. Former chairman, Cliff Shulman, Esquire, is he here? Thank you, Cliff. Thank you very much. We would also like to welcome Dean Page from the Florida International University Law School. Dean Page. Linda Hines, the Chief Regional Legal Counsel for the Florida Department of Children and Families. Are they here? Well, in their absence, we thank them for supporting us. Another very special friend of Law Day is Mo's Bagels and Deli with Aventura Commissioner Paul Cruz. Thank you, Mr. Cruz. He always rises to the occasion as our numbers rose dramatically this time at the very last minute. Thank you very much, Paul. We are very grateful. Now, what would Law Day be without our participating Bar Association sponsors? As I read off each Bar Association president's name, we know that there are board members and members of that Bar Association who are also here. So we would ask and welcome all of you to stand. I'm starting off with the Asian Pacific American Bar Association. I believe we have President Joseph Matthews. Thank you, President Matthews. The Caribbean Bar Association President Anisha Achana. Thank you. The Colombian American Bar Association President Adriana Santesteban. Thank you very much. The Cuban American Bar Association President Giselle Gutierrez. And I know we are also joined by the former president of CABA, Miriam Soler Ramos. Miriam? Maybe she has that. Well, thank you. From the Florida Association of Women Lawyers, we have President Diana Mendez. From Gwen Cherry Black Women Lawyers Association, we have President Michelle Samaru, along with past President L'Oreal Ascot. Thank you both very much. From the Haitian Lawyers Association, we have President Natalie Gideon. Thank you. From the North Day Bar Association, we have President Rick Shizever and former President Michael Blinn. Thank you very much. From the South Broward Bar Association, we have three past presidents, Ben Protano, Chris Tocido, and of course, our ever reliable Russell Lazega. Thank you very much. From Wilkie D. Ferguson Junior Bar Association, we have President Chris Lomax. Thank you. We thank all of you for ensuring another successful Law Day. We are also delighted that we have so many elected and appointed officials from throughout the county who are with us today. And let me take a moment to introduce them as well. From the city of Aventura, we have Mayor Howard Weinberg, Esquire. We have Vice Mayor Billy Joel. We have Commissioner Rachel Friedland. we have Commissioner Paul Cruz, and we have City Manager Ron Wasson. We also have Deputy City Manager Brian Pagis and Police Chief Michael Bentolila. You see how they came out for us? Yeah. From the city of Sunny Isles Beach, we have Mayor Larissa Suvechin. We have Vice Mayor Jerry Joseph. We have Commissioner Jennifer Vizcarra. We have Commissioner Fabiola Stefezont. We have former Mayor Dana Goldman. From Biscayne Park, I have Mayor Jonathan Grove. From the village of El Portal, I have Mayor Omar Nickerson. From the town of Golden Beach, I have Mayor Glenn Singer. I have Police Chief Rudy Habello, and I have Commissioner Ken Bernstein. From the city of Miami Gardens, I have Councilwoman Linda Julian. I have Councilman Robert Stevens III, and I have Police Chief Delma Noel Pratt. From the city of North Miami Beach, I have Commissioner Phyllis Smith. From the city of Opa-locka, I have Mayor John H. Taylor Jr. I have Vice Mayor Natasha Irvin, Commissioner Joseph Kelly, and Interim City Manager Darvin Williams. From the city of Miami Beach, I have Police Chief Wayne Jones. And I'm sorry I don't have the titles for the rest of the people, but I definitely want to recognize them. I have Sonia Dickens, Nicole Dixon Scott, Jonelle Murphy, and Zachary Stokes. Thank you very much. From the Miami-Dade County Commissioner Mickey Steinberg's office, I have District Aide Alexis Mosley. Now, from our household, we have from the Office of the Clerk of Courts, I have Luis Montaldo, who is our Clerk of Courts. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to remember our former Clerk of Courts for many years, Harvey Rovin. We remember Harvey Rovin for his outstanding contribution to the court system and know that not only will he never be forgotten, but his legacy will continue forever. And that as Luis Montaldo was the Clerk's General Counsel, he is an ideal choice to continue the excellent service that has always been provided. We are lucky to have you. Thank you for being here. We also have Doreen Ruggiero, the Senior Deputy Clerk. We have Sandra Brazil, our Courts Division Director. We have Paul Collado, the Courts Division Assistant Director. And we have Jenny Sayers, a Court Record Supervisor. From St. Thomas University, Benjamin Crump School of Law, we have Dean Lourdes Fernandez. I thought, yes. We have Professor Gary Kravitz and Kathy Hayes. Hi, Professor, I see you there. I know you didn't stand, but thank you for being here, Miss Hayes too. Now, of course, we would be remiss if we don't mention our colleagues who took out of their very busy schedule to be here. You've all met our Chief Judge, but I want to mention her again, Chief Judge Lucian Saifi. We have our Judge Jason Demetris, Judge Carlos Guzman, Judge Diana Vizcaíno, Judge Julie Harris Nelson, and I have to let you in on a secret, ladies and gentlemen, it's her birthday today. We have Judge Betsy Alvarez Zane. We have Judge Maisha Darrow. We have Judge Raul Cuervo. We have Judge Luis Perez Medina. Judge Michael Barquette. We have Judge Stephanie Silva. I saw her head towards the door. We have former Judge Scott Janowitz. And we have Judge Karen Kanner Schwartz, retired. I hope I didn't. Oh, we have Judge Christy Nunez, who is right there in front of me. I am so sorry, Christy. Oh, hey, I'm reading from a script. I'm so sorry. Judge Marcus Bach, thank you very much. I hope I did not leave anybody else out. And of course, last but most importantly, our special guest, who you'll be hearing from in a few minutes, Miss Katie Fine. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, you can see I'm reading from, a script. There might have been a few people that I missed. I am sorry. It is not intentional. If you let me know, I will be sure to come back and announce your name. But thank you very much and enjoy the program. Oh, yes, sorry. Our next speaker is our wonderful, illustrious colleague, Jason Demetrius.
The secret to a better life, a better society, is simple. Education. A better education. I think we're all aware right now that we as a society are lacking in civics and civility. We need to fix this through education. I'm speaking to the choir here, I know, but it is incumbent upon us to go out into our community and do this important work. It's critical in a democracy, and it relates to what we're doing here today with Law Day. On that note, I'm the president of the St. Thomas Peter Fay Inns of Court. We are focused on ethics and civility. And thank you to the St. Thomas School of Law, we are able to provide these get-togethers for dinners and intellectual conversation on ethics, professionalism, and civility to our incoming new law students and new lawyers. I ask you all to try to consider ways that you all can do the same. Let's get out there and let's improve this country's education and improve this country's civics, civility, and professionalism. On that note, I thank you all for being here today. I look forward to hearing what you are doing in the community, and please reach out to me anytime if you ever have any ideas for how we can do more of this together. On that note, thank you, Judge Lair. Thank you, Judge Stein, for hosting this great event, putting it together year after year, and moving us forward in this direction. Thank you all.
Thank you to our dear colleague, Judge Demetrius, for doing exactly what is needed in our community every single day, so thank you. And we enjoyed having you for many years here at the North Bay Courthouse. Welcome back. So, now, it is my pleasure to introduce our dear friend, the most talented Katie Fang. Attorney, journalist, legal analyst, TV host of the Katie Fang Show, and media face. Katie's everywhere. Katie's a native Miamian, a graduate of Palmetto Senior High School, Yale University, and University of Miami School of Law. Yeah? Yeah? Yay. Yay. It is such a pleasure to welcome you back to the North Dade Courthouse. Last time you were here, you spoke brilliantly to our students and encouraged them to pursue their dreams. They were in awe of your extensive experience in both criminal and civil law. Judge Stein and I have followed your career and meteoric rise to fame, and it is so well deserved, Katie. On a personal note, Katie is a loving wife to her attorney husband, Jonathan Feldman, and loving mother to her beautiful little girl, Charlotte. So please help me welcome the incomparable Katie Fang. Welcome to our
I have to come back and do these because I don't get this kind of love at home. I do not prepare the remarks that they do, but I appreciate you all being here. Let me tell you something, this is like coming home because there are so many faces that are familiar to me out here. Mark is Bob taking my picture. I'm not sure why you're doing that. I should be taking your picture, Judge Bob, right? Oh, it's your one. You know, it is so comfortable and so comforting to be here. Not only do I see members of the judiciary, members and esteemed, you know, people that I grew up with, Sabrina Puglisi, who just got elected to the Florida Board of Governors, who's here. She and I started law school together 20-something years ago at the University of Miami School of Law, Scott Janowitz. There are people that I have known, there are police officers and members of law enforcement that are standing in the back that I've known for decades. It was my honor to be asked to be here today simply because, and you guys are all amazing, but there are people in a room that's in the spillover room in that courtroom. They're the real VIPs today. They're the most important. They're the students that are here. And that is the reason specifically why I was A, relieved that the Dominion versus Fox lawsuit got settled, because if not, I was gonna be in Wilmington for 6 weeks and I wasn't gonna be able to do this. And B, because being able to interface not only with students but with the community is for me. I have the luxury of the platform of the Katie Fang Show and to be on mainstream media, as it's called, on a daily basis. However, the opportunity to actually be in the presence of all of you is truly what makes a difference for me, so I appreciate the honor to Judge Stein and to Judge Lear. So the amazing coincidence of time, I think it's serendipitous, is that today may be Law Day or Law Week or Law Month, but it's also AAPI Heritage Month. And for those of you that don't know what that stands for, that is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I am a Korean American, I am a first-generation American, and I always love to be able to start when I speak to anybody, and for those of you that have heard this story, forgive me, but I always think it's important. My father came to the United States from Seoul, South Korea at the age of 19 with $2.43 in his pocket. He was born in 1931. He lived through the Korean War. And when he fled what was the huge wave of communism that came to end up eventually splitting up his home country into two different parts, he came to this country, he could barely speak English, he came with a TB chest x-ray, because back then that was the only way you got into the US, is to show that you didn't have tuberculosis, $2.43, which I don't even know what the equivalent would be in today's day and age. And he had a Korean English dictionary. Got off a plane in Spokane, Washington at the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, promptly bought a 5-cent Coca-Cola with his $2.43, then left with $2.38. Dad, I can still do math. And he then went and found a bed at the local YMCA. He had no friends and no family. And then my mom came as well from Korea to the United States. She moved to New York, no friends, no family, and she started working. I am gonna get emotional, and I don't have a problem doing it. I am here because of my mother and my father. And many of you have a similar journey. But my father, my mother, and I am here because of democracy. And that word is used often, but I don't think a lot of us actually take the time to think about the import and the substance of that word. When I had the privilege of being born in this country, it meant that I had opportunities that millions do not have across the world. So what did I do with that privilege? I studied hard. I respected the work ethic that my parents instilled in me. I went to a very good university. I am a public school graduate all the way through, kindergarten through senior high school. And I ended up going to an amazing private university, but when it came time, I came back to Miami, told you I was gonna tear up a little bit, and I ended up going to the University of Miami School of Law. And that's important because that was never the plan. So for those of you that are listening in the spillover courtroom, I used to be the queen of the 1-year, 5-year, 10-year plan. I knew where I was going to go. I thought I knew where I was going to go, but I never thought I'd end up back in Miami. And the world and the universe works in mysterious ways because this is exactly where I came back in 1997 and I've never left. Now, albeit, I know the TSA agents really well at Miami International Airport now because every week I am traveling somewhere across the country to be able to cover breaking news. But part of the reason why I wanted to stay had nothing to do with raising a family eventually and being able to create roots. It was because I felt like this community was worthwhile investing in. And you guys can all look around the room and see this is the reason why. Because when you have a Wednesday morning, when you have so many people from our community and so many different reaches and corners that are sitting here today to be able to have this shared experience. But I'm also thrilled to be here for Law Day and during AAPI Heritage Month because representation matters. What an incredible room that I have the privilege of being able to look upon to see the different and varied faces. Ages, ethnicities, cultures, religions, genders. That is important, and because representation matters, that is why it is also an honor to be able to have a television show that is aired nationally, that ends up living in perpetuity on the internet, sometimes to my chagrin, but it has reach. And so people can see someone that looks like them, sounds like them, being able to talk about issues that are important to them as well. Democracy hinges on representation. You saw the full introduction of dignitaries and members of the judiciary and members of our community that are here today. But think about it. When you are a litigant, a party, an attorney, a juror, where do you want to see yourself? You want to see them on the bench. You want to see them sitting in judgment of you in that jury box. So democracy will hinge on representation. That is why it is so critical that we all are educated and informed when we vote, when we put people into office, when we elect our judges, when we elect our esteemed politicians, so that we know that they are going to be our voice. Because that's the only time sometimes that we are heard, is when we go and we vote. You want to see someone who looks like you, because it makes you understand that there is somebody that perhaps has a shared experience with you that will have an understanding and empathy, because that is certainly something that is lacking these days, which is empathy amongst all of us. Now, I also wanted to touch on one of the cornerstones for today's Law Day, and I want to talk about the jury system, because a lot of you also still get your jury summons to be able to come to serve on jury duty. And I actually thought I did this fascinating kind of deep dive into this, so forgive me for a second, because I'm going to geek out a little bit on you. But the history of the jury trial goes as far back as the Magna Carta, so it goes pretty far back. Henry VI, actually, under his reign, that's when juries became the triers of evidence, because before, they actually were the triers of fact. They actually would go out and they would conduct their own investigations. In the 18th century, though, this is when we actually got to the point where criminals, in criminal cases, the criminally accused got the benefit and the protections of the jury system. And Blackstone said the following: "A strong and twofold barrier between the liberties of the people and the prerogative of the crown was the essence of a jury trial, because the truth of every accusation must be confirmed by the unanimous suffrage of 12 of his equals and neighbors, indifferently chosen and superior to all suspicion." That right ended up being guaranteed in the constitutions of the original 13 states and in the 6th Amendment. And then it ended up in every constitution of every state thereafter in our amazing country. And in fact, juries were so important to the United States founding, that King George's attempt to deprive the colonies of a jury trial system was listed as an abuse of power in the Declaration of Independence. That is how esteemed our jury system is. And that is the reason why it is so important that a cornerstone of democracy remains our fair and impartial jury system. The United States holds the honor of 80% of all jury trials in the world. 80% of them. So, one of the things we talked about today, also about me being here, is the idea of another cornerstone of democracy, and whether you watch my network or not, if you do, let me know, because I will get a Nielsen box in your home for ratings, is the idea of media as the fourth estate. Some of you may have heard that concept before. It's really the fourth branch, but calling it the fourth branch actually probably imbues it with way more power than it needs to have. But we have 3 branches of government, and then we have something called the fourth estate, and that is the press. I'm still not comfortable with the moniker that I am a journalist. I still fancy myself a trial lawyer some days. I do know that I am a journalist, but I will say this. There's a really important quote about the fourth estate by Thomas Carlyle. He said, "The fourth estate acts as a sort of watchdog of the Constitution. And as such, the fourth estate is a vital part, thank you so much, is a vital part of democratic government." So you may not like us. You may not like us, but you need us. And the reason why you need us is because we keep tabs on the government. And we make sure that abuses of power are exposed. And we speak truth to power when others cannot, will not, are not willing to do so. I was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner this weekend, and President Biden spoke about the importance of a free and independent press. Information and knowledge are power. You just heard Chief Judge Nushin Saifi talk about how education and knowledge is critical in its power. I said a few minutes ago that I was in Wilmington, Delaware for the trial of Dominion Voting versus Fox News. I was supposed to be a 6-week trial grounded in a $1.6 billion defamation claim. Putting aside the politics or where you lean on the political spectrum, let me tell you what I saw, because I was inside a courtroom where there was no video and no audio. That day, when they finished jury selection and they swore in 12 jurors and 12 alternates, that case settled. After months of litigation, months of posturing in the media, once that jury of 12 and 12 were sworn in, that case settled for $787.5 million, which is the largest defamation settlement in history. Why? Because both sides saw the whites of their eyes, of the jurors. But the system worked. And when the judge, Eric Davis, came in, and he brought the jury in after there was 2 hours plus of all sitting around waiting to see what happened, he thanked each and every member of that jury. And he said, but for you, this case would not have settled. But more importantly, but for you, we wouldn't be able to be here today to have the system tested to see that it works. I'm just gonna close by saying the following. It's supposed to be about civics, civility, and collaboration. And we've talked and we've heard about what that means to several of us. Well, I'm going to offer perhaps a little bit of a maybe unconventional view of the definition of civility. I think most of you have either practiced in front of you as a lawyer or had the luxury of being a colleague or maybe been able to interact with you just as a friend. Civility sometimes means not being quiet. It means speaking up for those that don't have a voice. It means standing up when you see something that is wrong so that others do not suffer in silence. It doesn't mean that you have to have a TV show. It doesn't mean that you have to be a judge or an elected official. It just means you're a person who respects others and understands that civility can come in many different forms. But sometimes civility is, I think, incorrectly defined or kind of misconstrued as being you have to sit quiet in the side and not say anything. But civility sometimes means that when you see the rule of law threatened, as the mayor spoke about, the rule of law is the most important thing, and when you see it threatened, you have to speak up. So for those of you that see anti-Semitism in our communities, when you see attacks on the LGBTQ community, when you see attacks on members of the minority, when you see our members of law enforcement that are under attack, right? When you see that happening, civility sometimes means that you stand up and you speak out. And to have the privilege of being here today is one that I find to be more important than all of the TV shows that I could do, all of the trials that I can go and cover, and all of the people that I can meet, because you are my family, because I live amongst you. And because of that, I am grateful for your time today, and thank you for celebrating Law Day with me. Thank you.
You're an incredible public speaker. We wish you continued success.
Thank you.
And you're giving us all a lot to think about. We each have a role to play to keep our beautiful country with its values that it cherishes and holds dear in check. And we each have a role to play. So thank you for your thoughtful words. Thank you, darling.
Always.
Thank you so much, Katie. And just as a token of our appreciation for being here with us, we'd like to present you with the Sands of Time.
That's gorgeous. Thank you.
And this is from all of us as co-chairs.
Yes, thank you all. This is gorgeous. Oh, sorry. Sorry, everybody. Gotta take a picture. Oh, here we go. Thank you.
So this program would not be a success year after year without our forever partner, Elaine Adler. I don't know where Elaine is. The president. She's in the other room with the students. The president of the Aventura Marketing Council. Thank you, Elaine, for your dedication and support. Thank you to all of the sponsors. Is Elaine here? We're thanking you, Elaine, and a special thank you to our dear friend, Aventura Commissioner Paul Cruz, owner of the world-famous Moe's Bagels. You are always so kind and generous with all of us, so it's so appreciated. You're a dear friend. Thank you, thank you. And Judge Stein.
Thank you. I'd also like to once again acknowledge our great friend and supporter of Law Day, Cheryl Berkowitz. She's an outstanding attorney, and she has such commitment to the advancement of education in the law and a huge supporter of Law Day and the North Day Justice Center. Thank you again. And once again, we also want to recognize Esther Blinn and former Councilman Michael Blinn. If you could just wave. Because their contributions have been enormous for overseeing the Law Day Student Essay Contests for middle school students, as well as our wonderful Russell Lizega, who was the first Law Day Essay Contest winner only about 10 years ago. Finally, as you all have heard year after year, North Dade is famous for working together as a family. The courtrooms look so festive once again because of the talent of my amazing judicial assistant, and everyone knows she's the boss, not me. But we'd also like to thank our fantastic team of judicial assistants and bailiffs who always work together to make this courthouse great. Brian, Sheila, Arena, Michelle, George, Giselle, Charlie, Janai, Cecilia, and Nathania. And this year we've been lucky enough to have two alums, Alvaro and Jesus, as our bailiffs. We're also very lucky in this building to have wonderful building managers, Miguel, and we could not do without Humberto, as well as our maintenance crew, Novelette and Lou, who's been a tremendous help, Liaison, and once again, our sites, our IT department, Lohan and Juan Antonio, Luis, Antonio, and Michael, made all of this possible to be live streamed and wonderful for everyone in both courtrooms. So please give them one more round of applause.
So we are done, and we look forward to seeing you all next year for our next special event, and court is adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight.